Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Evan over here, and we're going to go over the markets for today. It's September 1st, 2023. And so starting off right here for the S&P 500, this was a straight case of today goes from the extension high to the extension low. Let's switch over to the 15-minute chart so it's a little bit easier to see. So using the highs lows from yesterday, that's how we get the extension levels we're looking at for the next day. So we can see right here price was moving on up over the overnight session, and then when the market opened today, hit right up in there, wouldn't even close above the 1.146 Fibonacci extension level, which is the extension high. And this is where we do expect most days for there to be, when price does hit that level, for there to be some type of resistance. Now, not every day does it just catapult off of that and go straight down to the bottom end of it, but it does happen. And there are days, some days, not many days, but some days when price hits either extension high or extension low level, it will just power through it. I call those blowout days, but I would say those maybe happen 10% of the time, if that. They're not very common, but I'll show you an oil that happened today, because typically when it hits that level, you will receive some type of pushback or support from the market. It just won't blow through it. But just be aware, it does happen from time to time. But you can see price hit it and then sold off all the way down here to the extension low levels. So going into next week, there really aren't any trade setups that we are potentially. I think this one was already said and done right here. Using it. Yeah, this one's already done. You can see we use the red semaphores right there for using the inside pitchfork, and the level for the inside pitchfork is 2.645. And what's 2.645 is, it is the square root of 7. And for whatever reason, that works for this trade setup. So we take it from the high, go all the way to when the first bar closes to the low, which was this bar right there. It closes below the yellow line, so that's the signal bar to get in. The exit is the 1.146. So as you can see right there, that would have been a very nice trade to take, because it also ended before the extension low of the day right there. But that is that one. So then going into next week for the SP 500, just because there isn't a what's the word I'm looking for? A live trade setup that I wish I could show everyone, but unfortunately that's the way it goes sometimes. So we're looking at extension lows down here, 4501.25 up to 4553. If market continues to move around without creating another semaphore, because we always use the last 3 semaphores for it, this will be the next level. If it does close above that with any other semaphores forming up here to the upside, and would be looking for that trade setup right there. But looking at the MFI down here, if we go to the 15-minute chart, it's in the middle of no man's land. We can see also today, when price is hitting off of the extension levels, the MFI was in the oversold level, so that contributed. That's another indicator just showing that look for the market to do some type of sell-off. I don't know how much it'll be when the MFI goes oversold, and when it goes down here below the black line is overbought. But it's just something for me to be wary of here in the market. And so, yeah, let's see the 1 hour time frame. Nothing in 1 hour. We can see right here at the MFI, yeah, it did get slightly oversold as well in the 1 hour, and then we had it right there. And then, but as you can see, I mean, look at it over here. Look at the MFI right here. MFI got way oversold right here, and look at that. There's a little bit of a sell-off, but not a big one. And here it just continues to, rally back up. So that's why I don't trade off the MFI straight up, just because things like that happen. You can see it did get over there, but we would expect a bigger sell-off than that. I mean, because look right here, barely touched the oversold, and you got a bigger sell-off than we got for this one right there. But it could signal that the market has topped up here, and going in next week, we should be looking for a sell-off to happen here in the market. Going into the 4 hour chart as well, I mean, look at the 4 hour chart. Price has been oversold as well. It's just been ratcheting around for it. So, I mean, there could be a good decent sized sell-off in the market next week and get this MFI all the way back down here. So I would not be surprised, just because we haven't had that big push downward, especially when the MFI gets in that oversold territory right there. Because I mean, look down here. Here it was in overbought territory down. Oh, I'm sorry, it's overbought. Excuse me. overbought is when it is above. Overbought's above. So it's in overbought territory right now. So when it's in oversold territory down here, look what happened. It's still, see there it goes right there and oversold. So it still went a ways down before it really kicked in. And then when it kicked in, we had a big move up right there. And then the continuation moving up right over here. So we haven't had that big move down yet, or bigger. Let's see, I mean, this one was, how much did that one go? That one went 131 points. So let's just say this one goes, 130, something like that. So even something down here for next week, down to the low 4400s, would not be unexpected based upon, these MFIs and what's happening with it right there. Now, one thing I did also want to talk about is there's two things I want to talk about. One is a trade setup that I am using that I'll show you here real quick how it works. See if we can find, I think this one would work, but maybe not. It's the same type of setup as the, no, that didn't work. We'll have to look for another one that happens because it doesn't happen as frequently as using the inside pitchfork. So what we look for is, three, good semaphores going down. And the one thing I haven't been able to determine is, do you have to use the last three or can you use any of them? Because, so here we have these 1, 2, 3 semaphores in a row right there. So when you see other ones wouldn't form, we'll just ignore that right now. Because what you look for is price to eventually break the upper semaphore, and that's just assuming that it can keep on doing that. But I don't know, that's such a weird example right there. I'll tell you what, we'll keep looking at some other ones because I want to talk about this one here real quick, because this is another one I am looking at doing. I just haven't been able to pull the trigger yet. So how it works is real simple. It's just using a Fibonacci retracement using the 50 to the 61.8. What you do is you use the previous day's low, and either the previous day's low or the previous day's highs. But since, like, for this day, for instance, we'll just scroll out a little bit. For this day, for instance, we have it right there. Market was going up, and then the next day the market opens up right there. It's easy to say, okay, we'll use the low of this day because we're looking for a retracement coming back down into it. We obviously wouldn't use the high of the day because it's the next day is already higher than it. So what we'd be looking for is retracement back to the 50 to 61.8 box, and there we go. We got it right here. Now the question I have for myself is the trade that we're looking for the entry to 61.8 and we just take it up to the 50 and be done with it? Or should it be the 61.8 or the 50 all the way up if it's going to be a continuation move to the 1.146 level right there? That would be a measured move trade right there. And obviously the gains would be a whole lot greater. But then you run into it for plenty of times where price hits the area in it. See, 56.1.8, and if we just took the 61.8 to the 50, it's still a good gain. Look at that, 5.5, 6 points by max for right there. Hey, good 6 points gain. That took 15, 30, 45, about an hour to complete. No big deal. But if we're looking at taking it all the way to the 1.146 and then really maximizing it, well, look what happens. Price just goes all the way down, and I mean, look how low it goes, all the way down to the pretty much 2.5 level, 2.618 level down here, even lower than that, before it eventually does turn around. And look, price comes up and kisses off the 61.8 right there before it sells off again. So that's just one thing I'm looking at, because also I have seen it before when it'll hit the 61.8 but won't even go up and hit the 50, just blows right through it. So it is a very interesting trade concept, but not one I'm willing to trade live right now. Just want to show that out there. Now going over to the Russell 2000, and kind of like what I said either earlier this week or last week, if you look at the S&P 500, Russell 2000, Dow Jones, and Nasdaq as a family, the Russell 2000 is the teenager in the family, where yes, he or she is a part of the family, but they do what they want to do and kind of go in their own way depending on what the family wants them to do. So today was one of those days where you have the S&P 500 where you hit the level, sold off right there, and the Dow Jones didn't even get up to that level, but we had that sell-off in the market where the Russell 2000, on the other hand, didn't really have that. It went up when price opened and then continued motion up higher before it just settled on, kind of rocking around in there for it. So that's basically what happened with the Russell today. Let's see here. I think this trade is already said and done. Yeah, that's trade all said and done. How that one worked. Price closed above the green right there. So you just take it back. That's your entry bar, and the exit's the 1.146. But as you can see, this is just a measured move. Price came back down perfectly on the 50, hit up right there to the target for it. So that is that one. I think the pitchfork would be too wide for this one as well. Yeah, it's got to have more of a longer thing for it. So going into next week for Russell 2000, let's look at this. There we go. There's the high. There's the low. So going into Monday, it has a really nice range for what to look forward to. But the MFI hasn't shown us anything. The only thing it did show us is that price went over bought right here and didn't sell off at all. Kept going up and then just settled on right there. So going to the 1 hour chart, look at the 1 hour chart, same thing as S&P 500, completely overbought right here. 4 hour chart, it hasn't reached the overbought stage right there, but the 1 hour chart is, daily's coming off being actually oversold with it. So it's got that run up right there. So on longer time frame, the daily's still coming off being oversold, but with conflicts with the 1 hour chart where it's showing that it's an overbought, and same thing for the 15-minute chart right there. So for the near term, just like the S&P 500, looking for more of a sell-off. And you know, one thing I didn't look at to see what daily. Yeah, daily's not showing anything for the S&P 500. It did have, obviously, it's way overbought right here. We just had a little tiny sell-off, nothing big, until it finally got up right here, and then you have more of a sell-off right there for that one. Going into the Dow Jones. Now, the Dow Jones is interesting because this has been from this setup right here. That semaphore, that semaphore, that semaphore. Price came, broke out right here. Let's zoom in a little bit. See at that red bar, that is the entry bar to get in, so we draw the fib level back. Looked like it was going to be a measured move. Started going down, but then just took off and blasted up. But it does happen from time to time from when I've seen this trade, where it went up and hit the, what's that, 2.618 extension level, which is kind of like the extreme level. If price had broken up, really pushed out, this because you see it hit off of it and then came back down, and it looked like it was going to push off, but it's just a fake breakout, and then it sold off today. Tried to go higher, but just came back down again. So the target I'm looking for here for that trade is all the way down here at the initial, where the initial breakout bar was, right there. I highlighted it with the black line just right there. That, well, you know what, it's going to be a little bit lower because it's actually on, I guess you can use, yeah, you use 15-minute chart for it, because it's actually, when it happened, is on the 1-minute chart, but the 15-minute chart works just fine for it. So that's the exit we're looking for, just below the 50% level for that move. So we are looking for more of a move down in the Dow Jones for where it currently is, which would be, at least another 280 points here in the Dow Jones going into next week. If we take the previous day's high lows, we can see that today it didn't hit anything for it. There's the high, there's the low. Let's go to the daily extension levels. Didn't hit anything. And so going into next week, here are the levels for that right there. A lot going on with this chart. Let's check the daily MFI. It's coming off being overbought right here, and we see we have a nice little sell-off down there in the Dow Jones. And then for 1 hour chart in it, again, overbought in the Dow Jones. We did get a little bit of a sell-off today, but as you see, it's really not too much of a sell-off. Overall, I mean, look, it's still up 77 points today, all things considered, from it. So we expect more of a push down, and that's what also the S&P 500 and the Russell 2000 is indicating going into next week. Monday's obviously a holiday for Labor Day, so that one it won't be open until really trading gets going on Tuesday. Now here is, I think what I mentioned before, kind of a blowout day here when it hit the extension levels. You can see an oil right here. Hit the 1.146, didn't do anything. Hit the 1.44. Looked like maybe it's going to come back down, didn't, and just skyrocket up above it. So yeah, today was a blowout day here in the oil market. Let's look at this right here, and let's see if we can get it going with this one. Yeah, so here's how move this out of the way. Here's how this trade works. So it's similar to the inside pitchfork, but it's just using the regular pitchfork. the 2.645 extension level. Again, that's just the square root of 7. For some reason it works from what I've seen. All you do is you wait for price to break out of the high sides, because since the last semaphore is to the low side, we're looking for price to break out of the high. Basically all this is just a trend following strategy. And what you do is you take your Fibonacci to the low, to the candle that closed above it, which would be that one right there. Let's get that on there so it's nice and even. And I mean, you could say that one did. I'm saying this one did because it's more easier to see. If it's kind of on the line, I go to the next bar. So we're going to use that bar for it right there. And the exit's the 1.146. So, you know, for this one, for me, I'd consider this trade done. Close enough for it. Price went up to 85.94. The exit's 86. Up here, it's the 1.146 extension level. But, you know, good enough. If, you know, you did get in, let's see where it closed right here. So you got in right when it closed. You took it up to like right there. That's a good 60 tick gain here in oil. Real nice trade right there for that one. So no need to be greedy and just take it to the maximum right there. Because I've seen it a couple times where it does get up to about this level and then it like sells off. So just, you know, get out a little bit before the hard exit. But that's how that trade setup works right there. Let's put the daily extension levels on it. There we go there. All right. 15-minute chart, nothing going on. 1 hour chart for MFI, completely overbought without a sell-off. So, I mean, every single market so far is showing the same thing, and usually oil doesn't correlate with the other ones. As far as MFI, they're all showing a 1 hour chart. All of them are extremely overbought, and there hasn't been a sell-off at all. In oil, going into daily, daily's a no man's land, which didn't help in that at all. So, you know, eventually look for a stop in oil as well. Going over to, ooh, that's a crazy chart setup. Let's go to a slower time frame. Oh yeah, because there are actually 2 trades going on for this right now. Let's just hide this one. Hide, yeah, make it easier to see. And anything else I want to hide, we'll take that one off right as well. All right, cool. Well, we'll take that one off. We'll come back to it. So today in the Nasdaq market, you can see when price hit the Fibonacci extension zone for the day. Unlike oil, it hit the area and then completely sold off. Didn't quite make it down to the low down there, but it actually had a long entry right around here, which I'll show, and it obviously didn't get filled based on another trade. So this one is a live trade up right here. You see using the red semaphores. Price closed above the yellow line right here. And so the exit we're looking for is the orange line, 15,677. Price did not go up and get close enough for me to consider that sold. And so it went and started selling off. And I was anticipating it coming down all the way down to the 1.146 or for the opposite way for the trade, or the 1.146 for the daily low, extension low of the day. So I think I had my entry just right about here, just for a good little scalp for it. So there's a ton of support down here for it, but it didn't hit down there. It wouldn't hit right here. And so yeah, we're still looking at, for this trade, for price, the exit up here at the 1.146. But you can obviously go lower. Doesn't happen a lot, but you can get that extreme sell-off without hitting the initial target, as I showed in the Dow Jones here earlier. And then we had, let's see here, let's put U on and let's hide U. Let's hide U. So we do have another setup as well. We have a short setup while we're waiting on this, using these 3 red semaphores right here. We can see price closed below the yellow line right there. So we'll take that pitchfork to that one right there. And that is the setup we have there. So the exit we are looking for is the 1.146, that orange line down there. So we're looking for that one to go down and get filled right there in Nasdaq. So we have a long setup and a short setup here in the Nasdaq. For it, let's put all that back on, just make it look nice and ugly down here in the market. MFI is not showing anything for Nasdaq. Let's go to 15 minutes, see if it is. Nope, nothing for 15. Go for the hourly. Nothing for hourly. Looked like it got close to being, yeah, it got close. When is this? Oh, that was then. So it had been recently overbought up over here. we sell, it has now gone down a little bit for it, but still haven't had that kind of bigger sell-off that we're looking for here in the Nasdaq. Let's go to daily. Nothing going on in the daily. So, what I'm looking for going into next week is I'm looking for when the markets open on Tuesday, or I'm looking for weakness in the market. Today was kind of the oil was a big day. The rest of the markets were mixed. S&P's pretty much flat, up 3 points. The Russell did what it wanted to do, is up over a percentage point. The Dow Jones was pretty much flat, and the Nasdaq was pretty much flat, even though slightly in the red for it. So, kind of mixed day. But going to next week, I am looking for more weakness in the market based upon what S&P 500, Russell, Dow Jones are showing. And then, if Dow Jones is showing, then you want to add oil into there. You can add oil into there just because it's showing that it's overbought on the markets as well. So looking for some type of some form of sell-off into next week. So that's that. Take care. Thanks. Bye.